Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Campbell City Council for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. And we'll have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Here.
Councilmember Hines.
Present.
Councilmember Bybee. Present. Vice Mayor Scazola.
Here.
Mayor Furtado.
Here. Thank you. I will now invite John Bridgman to lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
John, if you'll just wait there for a moment. It's my pleasure tonight to honor retiring community police officer John Bridgman for 30 years of service to the city of Campbell. John, I've known you for a long time. You've been here for many years, and it's my pleasure on behalf of my colleagues on the city council and the entire staff to congratulate you and thank you for your years of service to the city. I think, John, you probably hold the record of writing the most police citations of any officer in the state of California. John was responsible for enforcing our parking rules within the city. So he dutifully went about his job for many, many years. And in fact, one year, John, you even gave the mayor of the city a ticket. So you may not have known it was the mayor's vehicle. It wasn't mine, it was another mayor. But that person actually dutifully paid the fine. And so in any event, John, thank you so much. On behalf of the city, I'd like to present you with this small certificate. And we will have a resolution completed and signed for you by all members of the city council in the near future. So congratulations to you. Come back and see us sometime. And you're always welcome. So thank you. I'd like to invite my colleagues on the council to make some comments.
I just want to appreciate the dedication of service and thank God I never had just a real close interaction, but getting a ticket from you, but certainly enjoyed walking by you many times, and you were always cheerful and saying hi. So thank you very much.
Thank you as well for your many years of service. And one of the things that stands out from just reading the history of the work you've done is what a bridge the community were. Getting the Celebrate Campbell award is quite a distinction. I think it says a lot that someone who were filled by someone else in your shoes may not have that warm connection to the community, and in your case it was, despite the role. So it says a lot about what makes our city, our staff special, and thank you for contributing that for so many years.
Thank you.
And likewise, John, I want to thank you for your service to the city for a long time, 30 years. Well-deserved recognition tonight, and wish you well in your retirement. And I'm sure that you'll come back and visit, but in a different capacity. So congratulations.
Vice Mayor Scazola, did you want to make some comments?
Yeah, I would just like to echo my fellow colleagues' comments and congratulations and thank you. Thank you for your service.
I'd now like to invite Chief Harry Bird to the podium to make a few comments. And I'd like to thank the police captains and members of the police department for being here tonight to honor and support John.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for the opportunity to recognize John and his contributions to the city of Campbell. He has been a staple in our downtown area for a number of years, and I think it speaks volumes to the connections he's made that everybody who talks about John, brings up his name, always has a smile on their face, always happy to talk about the interactions that they've had. And that says a lot coming from the guy who's giving out parking tickets to everybody down there. So if he's able to get that kind of reaction through interactions that may not make most people happy, I think that speaks volumes to the person that John is, the employee that he's been, and the dedication that he's shown to our city. I had the opportunity to attend John's retirement party and heard stories of the early days of John, and John and I actually go way back. We went to middle school together. So it comes full circle, but I learned a lot more about John and his childhood during that retirement party. And what I really took away from that was that John lived out his dreams. John set his mind to being a part of this police department, regardless of his physical capabilities. And he proved that when you set your mind to something, that you can achieve it. And I think that that is a great reminder for all of us that we have the ability to make our lives whatever we want them to be, and we can follow John's role of putting your mind to something and accomplishing it. So on behalf of the entire police department, who many of them are here joining us today, just wanted to give one final thank you to John, and not just John, but his family who are here tonight, because as we all know, a career of this length isn't done on your own. It requires the support of your family, and I know John's family has supported him through the years. So thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
I would just like to, sorry about that, just a little choked up. I would like to thank the city and the police department for all their support through the years, and my family, and my wife Laura. Without the support of the police department and the city council, with your support, it just made things a lot easier to get things done. And I really appreciate that. And it's been a blessing. And it's been a joy to come into work every day, and get to know everybody, and and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, John. Yeah, best wishes. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Absolutely. We now move on to item number 3, special presentations and proclamations. And actually, we do have a proclamation tonight. It's my pleasure to proclaim the month of March, this month that we've just started, as Youth Art Month for the city of Campbell. And we don't have a representative here tonight, but I will highlight some of the elements of the proclamation itself. Whereas Youth Art Month has been celebrated in March since 1961 and encourages support for quality school art programs and promotes material safety. And whereas art is essential for developing a better quality of life for all, and art education is a valuable element in the education and curriculum that develops critical thinking and citizens of the global society. And whereas the creative expression of youth is a vital component of cultural enrichment, societal progress, and power to inspire, unite, and transform lives, enriching our society in countless ways. And whereas by promoting the importance of arts education, we affirm our commitment to nurturing the next generation of artists. It is my pleasure on behalf of the council to therefore issue this proclamation as mayor of the city, proclaiming March 2026 as Youth Art Months here in the city of Campbell. Okay, moving on. We have no communications and petitions, and now we move to oral requests. This is the time on the agenda tonight for any member of the public to address the city council on any item of business not on the council agenda. So if there are persons who wish to address the council under oral requests, you're invited to come up and fill out a speaker card if you would, please. But I do have two cards, and I will first call on Tom.
All right, just walk up. Do I press in the button or anything like that?
It's currently on green, so you can just go ahead and begin speaking.
All right, cool. That's good. All right, I just have a complaint and a question. The complaint's not about anybody specific. It's just about process. I've written to the city manager's office a couple of times in the last 6 months, and he's not been able to get my messages. So I had to come down here and ask him to respond to it. So I think that there's a problem in there. It's not him or anybody else, but I would like for somebody to take a look at that. I'm a property owner and resident in District 2, so maybe you can take a look at that. Okay, Sergio? I appreciate that. The other thing too is a question, and that is this year we're having the 250th birthday for our country. I was wondering if there's any plans for celebrating that or showing it in some way, you know, like maybe putting like banners down the avenue or something like that. That's what my question is.
Thank you. And to answer your second comment or question first, the Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation will be flying a 250th anniversary flag in the flagpole area of the Memorial Foundation. Mm-hmm. So that flag has been ordered, and it will be flying there.
Oh, that's great.
Because it's a national recognition.
Yeah, absolutely. A big deal.
And this particular anniversary has been noted in previous speeches before the council briefly, but yes, I understand.
So I remember back in 1976, it seemed like it was a lot bigger deal, you know, so I see nobody talking about it, you know, this particular time. So I just would like to see maybe even some banners or something like that. I wouldn't mind even just getting involved, you know. I would even put up some money to put some of these banners up to have them hang around or something like that. All right?
Okay, thank you. I'll refer your comment to city staff, and I will invite city staff also, either the manager's office or the city clerk's office, to get back to you with respect to
just
your
responding to the
communications.
emails, you know, that's all. You know, again, it's not an attack or a complaint against anybody specific. It's just the process. I'm not getting a response, so I have to come down here to City Hall and say, hey, you know, please can you answer my email? That's it.
Sure. Thank you. We will look into that and get back to you. Thank you so much.
Sir, I also want to just make a comment. I'm familiar with your messages, and perhaps we can communicate offline. There may have been some wires crossed, but I did receive them as well, so we can follow up about that.
Okay,
Thank you.
Because it goes all to one email address as soon as it gets distributed. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can follow up along with staff. Thank you for reaching out.
All right, have a good evening.
Thank you. I would now like to invite Barbara Culliver
Collier. I'm in Terry Hines District 1. Good evening, counselors. I'm Barbara Collier. I own a house at 1515 West Hacienda, and I've had that property for about 50 years. The front yard has been an ongoing problem, as no fewer than 4 accidents have taken place there. Fences have been broken, trees damaged, cars wrecked, and the police have intervened in some of these instances as well. In my opinion, it was my opinion that the removal of wood chips and the installation of asphalt would improve the area and end some of the slippery, messy mess created by the heavy postal vehicles as they rode over that area. I'm now informed that a permit was necessary. The paving contractor told me that no permit was necessary for paving. So I took his opinion that it was unnecessary. I'm being told now that the entire paved area must be removed, and it's an area of 13 by 90 feet, must be removed, and then it could be replaced if I get a permit. Well, to this point, my out-of-pocket expenses are $9,300, $9,300. So that means I have to tear this out and then put it back for another $9,300. I hope this conflict can be resolved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment. I will refer the matter to city staff to look into so that they can get back to you and sort of provide some more specific comments to your concerns and questions. But thank you for being here this evening.
Yeah, and Barbara, I'm sorry. And Barbara, I will follow up as your city representative as well.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under oral requests on any item not on today's agenda? I don't see any in City Hall. Anyone online? No one's online, so we'll move on. So now we will move on to council announcements. I actually have several here. First of all, March is Women's Health Month. Women's History Month. And in 2026, the theme is Leading Change, Women Shaping the Future, which celebrates the women who are transforming systems to build long-term environmental, economic, educational, and social sustainability. The theme highlights women's leadership in advertising equity, justice, opportunity, and recognizes their impact across fields such as environmental advocacy, financial reform, community organizing, and policy innovation. Their work not only addresses today's most urgent challenges, but also lays the groundwork for a more resilient and inclusive future. So we recognize Women's History Month during this month as well. The next announcement, the Recreation Department will hold a summer camp and swim lesson open house this coming Saturday, March 7th from 11 to 1. It will be at the community center. The primary gathering point will be in the Orchard City Banquet Hall, but those families or parents specifically have questions about swim lessons should meet at the pool. There may be some other locations which staff on duty can direct you to the proper location this coming Saturday, March 7th from 11 to 1. Next, the Adult Center case manager helps connect older adults and families with essential resources, including food support, utility cost reduction programs, rental assistance, caregiving services, and more. Appointments are available Monday through Wednesday, either by phone or in person. To schedule an appointment, please contact Pat Martinez. Her email is it's patriciam@campbellca.gov. Next, the Campbell Police Foundation will be holding a fundraiser breakfast on March the 14th from 9 to 10:30 at the Home Church on Winchester Boulevard in Campbell. Tickets are $30 and can be purchased online at campbellpolicefoundation.org. Also, applications are now open for those groups participating in the Downtown Campbell Bunnies and Bonnets Parade. That parade will take place on Saturday, April 4th, and applications for participation can be accepted through Monday, March 23rd. You can visit the downtowncampbell.com website. Community residents are invited to apply for openings on either the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee or the Planning Commission. So we have two vacancies, one on the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee, as well as a vacancy on the Planning Commission. So if you're interested, we encourage you to apply through the city clerk's office. And the city clerk's website is clerksoffice@campbellca.gov, or you may call the city and specifically speak with the city clerk's office. And finally, this coming Saturday, the Campbell Little League will celebrate opening day. This is March 7th, and it will be held at the Little League facilities, which is at Hamilton Avenue and Llewellyn Avenue, which is a part of the Rosemary School complex. And there is a special event this Saturday. It's for the first time in 50 years, 50 years, Campbell players from the 1976 United States Championship team. So there were 2 years that we had Little League champions go to the National Little League World Series. And we're honoring the 50-year anniversary of the 1976 team. That several members will be present to be recognized this Saturday. So I just extend an invitation for anyone who would like to come. The program once again starts at 9 o'clock. You can come a little earlier for some of the photos and a few other things, but the actual program will start at 9 o'clock this Saturday at the Little League facility. So that includes the council announcements. The council will now move to the consent calendar. And these are items 7.1 to, we'll get this here, 7.8, which the council will take as a single item of business unless a member of the council, a member of staff, or a member of the public would like to pull an item for further discussion. Would anyone like to pull an item for further discussion?
Just for a matter of clarification, 7.9, I have 7.9 is on the consent calendar.
Yes, 7.9.
Goes through 7.9.
Is consent.
You want to pull 7.9?
No, I'm just saying that the consent calendar, it goes through 7.9, item 7.9, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought I heard you say 7.8.
Oh, if I did, I meant 7.9.
Okay.
And we do have a member of the public that would like to pull 7.9.
Okay, thank you. We will now, I will request a motion for the approval of items 7.1 to 7.8. So moved.
I'll second.
Motion in a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Bybee.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scazola.
Aye.
Mayor Lopez.
Me.
Furtado.
Aye. Thank you. The city clerk has pulled item 7.9, so I will invite you to make some comments.
It's not me, it's actually Susan would like to pull the item.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Please, yes.
I'd just like to make a point of order. I was here to speak for John. You put him under Pledge of Allegiance. You didn't put it under 7.9. I was waiting to speak. I even raised my hand, and now they're all gone. So just a point of order, you didn't allow the public to speak about him.
I'm sorry. I did not see that, and I apologize. If you'd like to make some comments, it would be a matter of the record, and we can forward the comments to him and to his family.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, as a member of the council, past council, and a member of the community, how valuable I saw him. He was always friendly, happy, very pleasant to talk to. I knew his wife, and I wanted his family here to hear that it wasn't just the staff complimenting him, but that members of the community did see his benefit and how much I kind of saw him as an ambassador for the city.
Thank you. Your comments will be noted in the minutes under this item since it's been pulled. And furthermore, I'll request city staff forward your comments to the Bridgman family. Thank you. I'm sorry. I would now like a motion to approve item 7.9.
I'll move 7.9.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Bybee.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scazola.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. Okay, thank you. We now move to public hearings and the introduction of ordinances, item 8.1. This is a public hearing to consider an ordinance amending section 7.04.010 definitions and chapter 7.28 beekeeping of the Campbell Municipal Code. And I will ask Campbell planner Stephen Rose to please make the staff presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Furtado, members of City Council. So I want to start off with a little bit of background. The city's beekeeping ordinance was last updated in 2014, and at this time, it's now among the most restrictive in Santa Clara County. In fact, when you apply some of our standards, like a requirement that any aviary or hive needs to be over 1,000 feet away from a residence and over 300 feet away from a public right-of-way, you kind of end up with a situation where it's an effective prohibition in the city. As you're seeing here on the screen, there's only really 2 eligible properties that may be considered for beekeeping under our current code. For that reason, and in response to community interest as well as feedback from the Santa Clara County Beekeepers Guild, and of course, direction from the City Council itself, an update to the city's beekeeping ordinance was added as a work plan item as part of this fiscal year. In response, staff has been working extensively, researching best practices on beekeeping, and specifically, we've been coordinating with Lucy Diekman, who's in the audience tonight, who serves in the Urban Agriculture and Food Systems Advisor of the UC Cooperative Extension, to help us research best practices and help us evaluate ordinances adopted by other jurisdictions in the area. We've done extensive outreach to the Beekeepers Guild, but in addition to that, we also held a community meeting on January 29th, where we kind of presented to the community our first brush at ideas of what the ordinance might take the form of and some of our recommended policies. And I want to present really based on the feedback which we had heard from the public at that community meeting, as well as best practices from these organizations. We kind of heard the points you see here on the screen, really, that in addition to just adopting a beekeeping ordinance, it's a good idea to have a best practices guide that we publish on the website. Looking at development standards themselves, we'll be looking at having minimum setbacks to property lines and from roads, limiting the total number of hives based on lot size, et cetera. So before you tonight is an ordinance which serves to align the city standards with the best practices of peer cities, including those found in Cupertino, Los Gatos, Montessorino, and Saratoga. What it will establish are new setbacks from, instead of it being, let's say, the 1,000 feet that had been previously the case, a far more reduced 6-foot setback from property lines, 20 feet from public right-of-way. The new standards would also limit the total number of hives on a property to 1 per property, but you would have the opportunity of an additional hive for every 5,000 square feet of additional lot area. There would need to be, if the property has a flight dispersing barrier, which is just a fancy way of saying a fence or a wall, those would be the setbacks that apply. If you don't have that, so the property is unsecured, you need to double the setback requirements. In addition to that, there would be a requirement for water supply on the property. It could be anywhere on the property that the aviary is contained. And then pretty much all the other regulations like a permit process, registration, signage, all that would just really follow state law. There are already requirements for that, and we don't need to restate them in our local ordinance. So with that, staff is recommending that the city council introduce an ordinance tonight, which would amend the section 7.04 of the municipal code, as well as chapter 7.28 beekeeping of the Campbell Municipal Code. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I'll ask if members of the council have questions.
Yes, we do. So Stephen, on the requirements that you just mentioned, on the water supply required, at what point does city staff get involved in inspecting that, or does the city staff get involved?
So if we were to receive a complaint, there would be the opportunity for us to conduct an investigation so we could inspect the property. The ordinance does provide authority for the city to go onto a property to verify compliance with the ordinance.
So it's basically complaint driven?
Correct. So we would not be pre-checking or requiring plans or anything of that nature up front.
Thank you.
The council does not have any further questions at this point. And so I will now open the public hearing. I actually have several cards, as you can tell, from several of you that would like to talk, and I will follow up individually here. I might just recommend, since we have so many requesting to speak, that if someone makes the comments that you wanted to make and simply wanted to rise and just sort of indicate that you support that, I'll be pleased to likewise acknowledge that. But you're welcome to speak. And so the first person I will invite is Karen Pruitt.
We're coming up as a group. We are members of the Beekeeping Project, the Rolling Hills 4-H Club, which is based in Cupertino. We are very happy that the city of Campbell is updating the beekeeping codes to allow more residents to become backyard beekeepers. I am Karen Pruitt, pardon my voice, one of the adult leaders of the Beekeeping Project. Even though I've been a volunteer in a 4-H club that's based in Cupertino, I've been a Campbell resident for the last 40 years. The other adult leaders are Lisa Sakas and her husband, who's not here, Dino Sakas. As adult leaders of the Beekeeping Project, we aim to inspire our students to grow up to become the next generation of backyard beekeepers. I also encourage them to become scientists who will find solutions to help save the honeybees. My dream is for some of our students to attend UC Davis, which has one of the top research bee facilities in the world.
Good evening, Mayor Furtado, council members, city staff. Thank you for letting us speak today. I'm Elisa Sakas. I'm one of the other adult leaders in 4-H Project, Rolling Hills Beekeeping. One of the principal goals of 4-H is to foster leadership skills and civic engagement in our students. And in 2016, our beekeeping project was very instrumental in getting the city of Cupertino to update their beekeeping municipal code to allow more backyard beekeepers. We had the same situation. There were only 2 properties that could legally keep bees at that time. It was because of this effort that we were asked to come speak at tonight's city council meeting. And our goal is to share with you why we believe that backyard beekeeping is so important. We have 3 students we brought with us today here this evening. We have Cordelia Liu. She is 10 years old, and this is her first year in our project. Adrian Ma is 13 years old, and this is his 4th year in the project. And Jonathan Lee is 16 years old, and this is his 8th year in our project. First, Cordelia will talk about the importance of honeybees to the world's food supply. Adrian will talk about colony collapse disorder and its causes. And then finally, Jonathan will explain the added stresses that are placed on bees that are used for commercial beekeeping and why backyard beekeeping is so important. And he'll also discuss the new Asian mite, which threatens the Western Hemisphere. And we brought all the council members some honey to sample. We'll get that to you later. Thank you very much. Cordelia.
One-third of the world's food supply depends on honeybees for pollination. Honeybees are used to pollinate 70 out of 100 major crops. Examples of food pollinated by bees are apples, blueberries, cherries, carrots, celery, zucchini, broccoli, cucumbers, watermelon, herbs, other fruits, and nuts. What most people don't know is that the beef and dairy industries are very dependent on honeybees. Cows eat alfalfa and clover, and these are pollinated by honeybees. By far, the most common species of bees that are used worldwide for pollination is the European honeybee. European honeybees evolved to have large populations to help them survive the cold European winters. In the spring and summer, when the European honeybee's population is at its highest, a typical colony can have 60,000 bees. Bees pollinate plants which are located within a radius of 2 to 3 miles from the hive. Assume there are plenty of flower sources within that range. They have been known to travel up to 8 miles one way during times of dearth. Some large commercial beekeepers in the United States have up to 20,000 colonies. The reason they have so many colonies is because they rent their colonies to farmers to pollinate crops. A good example is the almond frog. 2/3 of the commercial bees in the US, about 2 million colonies, are trucked to California's Central Valley every February to pollinate nearly 1.5 million acres of almond trees. California provides about 80% of the world's almonds. Last but not least, a food that has many health benefits that honeybees provide to us is honey. Thank you.
All right, well, hello folks, my name is Adrian. I'm a junior leader here at the Beekeeping Project. I've been here for 4 years. Here to talk about colony collapse disorders, or CCD. About 30 years ago, colony collapses, honeybee colonies all over the world began dying at higher and higher rates. This die-off is called colony collapse disorder, and scientists have been trying to figure out the causes ever since. In the 1980s, an Asian mite called the varroa mite swept across the world and arrived in the US in 1987. Varroa mites are a main contributor to colony collapse disorder. They not only feed on bee larvae and adult bees, but they also carry new bacteria, fungi, and viruses to the bees as well. And once the varroa mite has been established in a particular country, the people there have not been able to eradicate it ever since. Also contributing to colony collapse disorder are pesticides that farmers use on their crops. The most heavily used class of pesticides in the world is a class called neonics. Most neonics have been banned in the European Union, but they're still heavily used here in the US. Neonics are 5,000 to 10,000 times more toxic to bees than DDT. When varroa mites feed on a bee's body, it weakens their immune system and detoxification system, making them less resistant to the making them die from pesticide exposure that would ordinarily kill them. Now, varroa mites have also become resistance to pesticides developed to kill them. Similarly, bacteria that infect honeybees have also become resistant to antibiotics used to kill them. On top of all this, climate change has led to loss of wildflowers, being an important issue for honeybees. Last winter, 2024 to 2025, nationwide, beekeepers lost about 70% of their hives. We had 8 hives, we lost 6, so now we're down to 2 hives. Scientists worldwide are desperately searching for ways to help honeybees thrive.
So bees owned by commercial beekeepers deal with a lot more stress than bees owned by backyard beekeepers. And the reason for that is mostly because they're transported over long distances and they're also being placed in a monoculture setting. So for example, we have the almond industry. For commercial bees, they would only be able to get one type of pollen from the almond tree, which is bad for their nutrition. Different types of plants produce their nectar at different times of the day. So for example, if our commercial bees were foraging for nectar and pollen during the morning when almond trees produce their nectar, then if it is all collected during the rest of the day, they will not be able to forage. However, usually backyard beekeepers will plant their own pollination gardens for their bees, and also in the neighborhoods, they'll have a greater variety of pollen, which will help with their nutrition and the health of the bees. This makes for a healthier environment overall for the bees. If commercial beekeepers continue to have massive losses in the future, then these backyard bees will be crucial for maintaining genetic diversity of our honeybee populations. Especially concerning is a new Asian mite which is spreading worldwide and could invade the Western Hemisphere in as little as 1 year. It reached Ukraine in 2024, and Canada had to stop buying honeybee queens from Ukraine. This new mite is called the trophy mite for short and is far worse than the varroa mite. Varroa mite populations double in about 1 month, but for trophy mites, it takes only a couple of days. Varroa mite populations will usually bite a bee, like each mite will bite the bee once, but the trophy mites will bite a bee multiple times. Trophy mites also spend most of their time inside wax-capped brood cells and are hard to kill by pesticides.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'd now like to invite Alyssa Sakakis.
That I'm part of this, so that you'll probably have all of our names.
At the top, it says
Yeah.
Rolling Hills 4-H Club. That's also.
Thank you. I'd now like to invite Doug King.
Speaking of a hard act to follow, council members, residents of Campbell, I've spoken about this before because it's so important to me, for all the reasons they gave. And just on a personal sense, my wife and I spend a lot of time putting in flowers and things that need to be pollinated to take care of butterflies and honeybees and so forth. And somebody got caught and had their bees removed, and we don't have them as much now. Please pass the ordinance and give us back our bees. They've been, from here to the officers there away from our back door, we've never been bothered. We love them, and we would love to have more of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim Galizzi.
Thank you, Mayor and council members, for taking this ordinance into consideration. I don't have much to add to what's been said already, but one thing I'd like to express is that I feel like bees and humans have been interacting since antiquity, and I think it's very important to keep that relationship alive. And I wish I'd had the chance to have a hive in our backyard. Living in Campbell since 25 years, I would have loved to be able to experience this with my children. So if God willing, I may have some grandchildren, it would be nice if you pass the ordinance, I would have that opportunity with my grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you. Kyla Meringer.
Hello, Mayor. Hello, council people. My name is Kyla Meininger. I've been a resident of Campbell since 1985. I've lived here my entire life, except for a brief hiatus living in San Jose, but here nor there. I am a part of the Bee Guild and Rolling Hills 4-H Club. You guys are amazing. That was far and above anything that we could ever help and hope for come here. I'm also an educator. I love bringing the topic of bees, ecology, as well as the life cycle in our habitats here in the city of Campbell. Being able to have backyard bees allows me to show firsthand videos to my students, some of whom have never been to a farm or had access to a lot of outdoor space. So it's a lot of fun to not only have the continued education of the backyard bees, but it's a fun hobby for the rest of us. And as my other counterparts have said, that it's vital for our survival going forward, especially with all the needs of pollination. So thank you so very much.
Thank you. Mike Ryan.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and especially staff. I know who our future master beekeepers cadre is going to be, very well represented, and I'm excited by their excitement. I want to not belabor everything that they've said, but also thank the council very much and the staff, the work they've done bringing in a member from UC, interfacing with UC Davis, and reaching out to the Bee Guild. I'm the current president of Santa Clara County Bee Guild, so we really appreciate being brought in and being treated as community. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Zifeng Yang.
Hello. So my name is Ziping Yang. I'm a Campbell resident since 2019, and I'm district 4. And I was a beekeeper, moved from Saratoga to Campbell. And I was reported and caught by the city. That's the dog my neighbor mentioned, the beekeeper. So I was surprised that Campbell has so strict ordinance. And I was told by some enforcer officer, there's literally impossible to allow people to have beekeeping in the backyard in Campbell. So actually before that, so we were in the COVID, I really enjoyed the backyard beekeeping. And my daughter also, she liked to take a bee as well. She also had bee training program to the different schools. Sometimes she just teach kids how to get the knowledge about the bee. So that's really a great experience, but I had to give up because of this regulations. So since then, I'm working with another organization called Bee Initiative and try to get awareness of these issues. I'm really happy, glad, and we are in the process to modernize the Campbell Bee Ordinance. And one thing probably we are proud of our city is the orchard city and how we can be the orchard city without bee. So I really hope that we can modernize our bee ordinance and enable us to be able to interact with bee in the backyard, and that's a very really nice creature, and they should bring more benefit to our city. Thank you for consideration.
Thank you. Susan Landry.
I'll be brief. Ditto to a lot of what everybody said, and this is extremely impressive, I have to say. Great information of people for the future. It's great to see we're here. This is a long time in coming, and it's great for our community. We need pollinators. We're asphalting and paving over the world, and it's nice to know that people can have bees and let the flowers grow and be pollinated. Thank you.
Steve Saunders.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I'm afraid you're not going to like what I have to say. I'm real afraid of bees. I've been stung in over 50 years, but I remember how sick I was when I got my arms swole up. And I really ask that you not pass this ordinance in its current form. You at least allow for notification of neighbors that there's dangers can be placed next to them. And bees, when you vibrate things and make loud noises, they can get mad real quick. So there's some portion of your yard you're not even able to use for some activity because someone stuck a hive next to you. And yeah, I understand we need pollinators, but I still think you need to worry about people's safety too. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no other cards. Does anyone else wish to speak? Yes.
Raja Pallela 1216 West Hacienda Avenue. Till recently, I didn't even know that there was an ordinance not to have bees. Bees are not like the rules will not allow. I used to have a hive on my property. I have about half an acre of property in Campbell. So I was not even aware of that. So till the swarm died or moved away kind of thing. So it's thanks to staff, Stephen Rose and folks for bringing the ordinance, and thanks for taking into consideration to allow add in the for every 5,000 more square feet, you can have one more hive kind of thing. That was helpful from the community meeting. I also own an almond orchard in Central Valley, so I know the importance of bees. A lot of people have actually covered most of the topics. My only request is, there is a 20 feet setback restriction in there. So I'm wondering if that could be done into 10 feet. So that was my only request if the city council can. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please come forward.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. So I've been a resident for over 20 years. I've previously been a beekeeper. I'd like to thank everybody for restructuring the ordinances. I think this is the right thing to do. Personally, I've sat for many nights eating outside 10 feet from 20,000 bees in the past. I've never had an issue. Wasps, yes. Bees, no. I found them to be very docile and get on very well with people.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Anyone online? Okay, I will close the public hearing, bring the matter back to the city council for discussion. Who would like to speak? If there are no speakers from the city council, then I would.
Oh, I've got my hand raised. I'd be happy to speak.
Yes, I'm
Oh.
sorry. I neglected to Vice Mayor Scazola. Thank you.
Yeah, I just I wanted to just voice my comments that I'm very pleased that this ordinance has been passed. It is an updated ordinance, and it is very the facts of today. The whole reason why we had the previous ordinance, well, maybe not the whole reason, but a lot of it had to do with the fear of killer bees way back in the 80s and 90s. And we've learned, it's been decades since, obviously, that actually that wasn't nearly the threat. And so the update is very appropriate for today. And I'm very happy that it's happened. And this actually was one of my first priorities. So it's good to see it done 3 years later. Thank you very much.
Yes, Councilmember Hines.
Yeah, just had a question, Stephen, you said that there was a registration that is done at the state level to trying to address one of the comments on concerns as location.
Yes, there's a requirement in the government code that stipulates that you need to register with the county agricultural commissioner. That would be a requirement for all new aviaries, as well as if you were to relocate an aviary. So that would meet the registration.
Which I imagine then would be a matter of some public record that could be.
I could only assume it would be available through the county agriculture.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. I guess I just want to make one other comment. I love seeing the 4-H. That's a fantastic. Spending some time in Iowa, it was a big time thing in Iowa. So it's just fantastic to see the 4-H in this area. And then my final comment is that I've got a cherry tree that I'd love to be able to get cherries out of, and I haven't had any cherries in there for forever. So I'd love to be able to get some pollination going on.
Well, I want to start by expressing my appreciation to everyone who came out. Many of you know that this is an issue that the community has been asking for a long time, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one person who's not here tonight, and that is Nikki Kanotis. She's probably off somewhere running one of any of 5 to 10 businesses that it seems that she's involved with. But I remember when I first, probably 6 or 7 years ago, sat down with her at Phil's in the prune yard to talk about this issue just with an open mind and educate myself. And my interest was piqued because I first fell in love with bees when I was an undergraduate at Yale, and they had something called the Yale Bee Space. And folks may or may not know this, but in the early 19th century, it was a Yale alum who invented the modern beehive and figured out a way to most efficiently allow bees to construct their hives and allow them to be kept at scale. So I fell in love with it. I'd seen a film called Rushmore, and one of the images that I remembered, although it's only probably in there for half a second, is of a student in the beekeeping guild in that film. And folks may ask, what do bees have to do with the business of city government? But if you'll indulge me for a second, it's been a fascination for writers throughout history. Virgil, after writing the Aeneid about the foundation of Rome, turned his attention to the Georgics, which focuses on gardening and cultivation, beekeeping, and focusing on that as the metaphor for not just how you found, in that example, Rome was founded and more, but how you cultivate a society and make it last through generations. Other writers have looked at bees as a metaphor for the ideal society, even radical socialist writers who've looked at bees. And so whether or not you agree with that, it's provided inspiration for people throughout history. And so while today I read, I hope that one day I can continue to stay in Campbell and have my own hive. And I just want to end by expressing my appreciation to staff. In the grand scheme of all the things that we as a city have to do throughout the course of a year, this may seem small, but you can see by the response in the community why this is important. I think this is something that really speaks to Campbell's values, and what makes us unique as a city is that staff took this upon themselves to put in the time and effort to craft something really thoughtful with experts from the field and together with the community. And whether or not you keep bees or appreciate them, I really think that speaks to the best of the Campbell community. And so I'll be glad to move this item.
Thank you. My own comments. First of all, I want to thank members of the public for bringing this whole matter to the attention of the council quite some time ago. And we were able to schedule it for work. And I also want to thank the staff for the work that they did, and the public meetings, and also the consultation on this whole matter. And creating a model ordinance which is more in line with both county and particularly state regulations and rules, without overly onerous individual city rules. So I think our revision is much more in line with what is required by the state, without imposing additional requirements or burdens based on the city itself. With that, what is the pleasure of the city council?
I'm happy to move this item.
I'll second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Bybee.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scazola.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. Thank you all very much. We now move to item
Mayor
8.2.
Furtado. Mayor Furtado, can I read the title?
Sorry, you have to read the title
Yes,
of the ordinance, yes.
Being an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Campbell, amending section 7.04.010 definitions and chapter 7.28 beekeeping, file PLN-2025-148.
I'll waive further reading of the ordinance.
Second.
Motion and a second to waive further reading of the ordinance. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Bybee.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scazola.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. Thank you. Now we will move on to item number 8.2. This is also a public hearing to consider the 2025 General Plan and Housing Element Annual Progress Report. The staff report will be presented by Assistant Planner Larissa Lohman. Welcome.
Okay, thank you and good evening. So every year, the city must submit an annual progress report, or APR, detailing its progress in meeting its regional housing needs allocation, or RHNA, and implementation of its general plan. The APR is divided into two sections. The first focuses primarily on housing production and the city's efforts to meet its RHNA targets, while the second explains how the city is executing its recently adopted general plan adopted in 2023. This analysis will not only provide insights on the current plan's effectiveness, but also aid the city in preparing for future planning initiatives. To summarize last year in a single slide, we see here on the screen a snapshot of 2025. The city received applications for 429 new housing units, issued 90 building permits for new units, and finalized 92 new units. Of the 93 issued building permits, which do count towards the city's RENA, the affordable ranges are as seen on the screen. So 14 new, 14 very low, 14 low income, and 14 moderate income units. All of those lower income units are designated as ADUs, which do count towards the city's portion of its RENA. And 51 of the 92 were above moderate. The city is currently in the housing element cycle 6, which will carry on for 5 more years ending in 2031. The city was allocated for 2,977 housing units across 4 distinct income levels. As the city concludes the 3rd year of an 8-year cycle, it was expected to have provided at least 3/8 of the housing units. However, as we look at on the screen and we see here in the red box, we've only done about 300 units, which counts towards about 10% of the city's goal. While this is true, the city will be credited for the entire cycle, so we do have some time to make up for these numbers. The city is moving forward with some projects, housing development projects on the horizon. Earlier this year, the city did permit the long-awaited Cressley project in February for mixed-use development, proposing at least 90 new units. And the city is also completing work on 2 additional major housing projects, including the Campbell Technology Parkway housing development and the Barbano mixed-use development located on Campbell Avenue. And those 2 projects will have a combined unit count of 614. However, as noted on the previous slide, the city is currently experiencing a shortfall in housing production. As of 2025, the city has produced 253 units, which, as I mentioned, represents about 10% of its RENA goal. If this trend were to continue, as we see on the screen, we are projecting about 794 units, which is about 2,183 units shy of its 2,977 goal. In addition to reporting on the housing production, the APR also serves to capture the city's progress in implementing the programs and policies of the housing element. Despite the low housing production, the city has progressed well in its other housing efforts. In the 3rd year, as you can see on the screen, the city completed 51% of the housing action items outlined and has started progress on additional 25 action items. The final 24 items are scheduled for future years and are expected to be completed on time. Some of these accomplishments specific to 2025 include the establishment of a regional housing collaborative in the form of a developer roundtable, updating the city's density bonus ordinance to allow for additional bonus units in the form of smaller units, and continuing to perform community outreach for implementation of the city's housing element. As the 3rd year of implementing the 2024 general plan, the report also includes an update on the city's progress towards completing these various actions. Each action was reviewed, given a timeline for implementation, and provided a status. This report was put together by the planning division and also all the other departments within the city who have action items assigned. The general plan implementation, as I mentioned, is a collaborative effort across all departments citywide, and it is generally an ongoing process, although there are some implementation timelines as listed. In conclusion, staff recommends that the City Council adopt a resolution directing staff to send the annual progress report to the required state agencies. This concludes staff's presentation, and I can take questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First, I'll ask if the council has any questions.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent presentation. Very much appreciated. So how do we get the 2,000 units?
Good question. Well, I know that we're working to implement some more of our housing element policies to provide more streamlined pathways for housing production. But unfortunately, as you may have seen from the city's, we did a feasibility study. So sometimes we're just constrained by certain market constraints that are existing.
Yeah, and we certainly hear that from developers as well. Are there are there other steps that that really could be considered? I guess that's more feedback. Maybe come with other ideas that can be done from a city standpoint as we start moving towards this, because we're not going to make it at this pace.
Well, we're obviously hoping that market conditions will turn around and provide the pathway for a lot more housing production. As you've seen, we've entitled a lot of new projects. So I think I mentioned we have about 614 housing units that are down the pipeline, as well as 90 from other projects. So we are hoping that those RENA numbers will be increasing exponentially over time. But other than that, we don't. We have our housing division here is working diligently to take a look and see areas where we can improve. And as you can see from the table D, we just recently implemented an update to our state density bonus. We are working on ways to improve housing production numbers.
We have no other questions. Thank you. If you'll just stand by. I will open the public hearing and invite members of the public to speak on this item if they would like to do so. I have no cards, but would anyone like to speak to this matter? Okay, anyone online? We do have someone online. Okay, please go ahead.
Hi there, my name's John Pringle. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, I'm representing the Barbano site, which we were calling Cannery Place. So we're submitting our application to move forward with 328 units. To answer Councilmember Hines' question, personally, I think that fees remain an obstacle to more large-scale production. We're all seeing rents rise significantly in certain areas of the valley, but we're seeing construction costs keep up with it. So I, again, recommend that the city take a hard look at park fees, which are significant. In our case, it'll be nearly $7 million. That's a serious expense. I think the planning department is working extremely hard to encourage people, but to make our project close to pencil out, we've had to redesign it for the third time and include a lot of smaller units. In the long run, I don't necessarily think that's what you want in all multifamily. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments online?
No.
No other comments. Therefore, I will close the public hearing and bring the matter back to the council for further discussion. Any comments by members of the city council? Yes, Councilmember Lopez.
I'd like to thank staff, not just for the update, but all the work that goes into this year round. I know every city is subject to market conditions, and that in itself is not an indictment of the work that we're doing, but we want to continue to try to find creative solutions. I did want to bring one potential avenue just to the attention of the council and of staff. Over the weekend, I heard a legislative update from Assemblymember Patrick Arendts, who is introducing legislation this session, or I believe has introduced legislation, which along with many of his colleagues in the legislature on board to get more resources to cities that are trying to do the right thing and allow housing production and actually bring state funding. It's an effort by the freshman class of the legislature, of which he is one. And although Assemblymember Aaron's is no longer, or is not our representative. Obviously, he worked for former Mayor and Assembly Member Evan Lowe, and is very familiar with Campbell. And so I would just pass that on for perhaps the legislative committee to look at, for staff to look at, and be in touch. And I think potentially we may have someone from his office here if perhaps after the meeting he can provide some more information to staff. I don't have a bill number or anything, but just wanted to bring that to attention.
Thank you. I'd like to make some comments myself with respect to housing. The assignment of the number of houses per city is a part of a statewide program that's been in effect for quite some time called the Regional Housing Needs Assessment, or RHNA. And these numbers actually come from the Department of Housing from the state of California. These numbers are developed and they are sent down to the regional planning agencies. In our case, the regional planning agency, which makes these assignments further, is the Association of Bay Area Governments. And so therefore, the amount of housing required for a given regional area ultimately is broken down by city. And what that really means is cities are responsible for zoning in their general plan and in their housing element. The number of houses or dwelling units that are assigned to the city by the state. And so we have to identify specific geographic areas that are zoned for appropriate housing. In addition to that, in the last few years, the state of California legislature has imposed more and more housing regulations on cities, leaving less jurisdiction to every city with regard to regulating number of units, density, etc. Unfortunately, one size does not fit all, and they fail to take into consideration some individual concerns of every single city, but make general rules that apply to every city in the state of California. And I think in many respects that's unfortunate. Furthermore, we as a city do not own property. We cannot build housing unless there are property owners willing to sell and developers willing to develop, and the two parties need to negotiate with one another in order for this to happen. When that initially happens, it's then up to the developer to put together a funding package and get the appropriate construction loans from lending agencies to complete the project. So there's a limitation to what we can do. And I phrase my comments somewhat in the way of a complaint, because the state frequently likes to blame cities for not building the houses and the numbers that are assigned to it. But again, we don't own the property. We can only zone it for willing buyers and sellers. And I do want to commend the staff for a note that I saw in the staff report, and I will quote it. It says, "As previously discussed with the council, this shortfall is largely attributable to external market conditions that continue to constrain high-density residential development." So with the developers, they are also bound by what the mortgage rates are and what the economic conditions are. So this is not a simple project, and it's not a failure on our part, because we have supported affordable housing and building housing for many, many years. We are a city of slightly larger than 6 square miles. We have a population of 47,000. Approximately 50% are single family units and 50% are apartments and condos. So we embraced density a long time ago. So I think we are doing a good job, and I commend our staff for doing the best they can and for looking for incentives to incentivize developers to develop and encourage more housing where possible. And so those are just some general comments I wanted to make. I felt it was necessary to state that. With that, I don't see any further comments. Would someone care to make a motion?
I'll move the staff recommendation.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. If no further discussion, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Bybee.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scazola.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. Thank you. We now move on to new business. This is item 9.1, the application for state funding through the Pro Housing Incentive Program. And the staff report is by our housing director. Yes, welcome.
Hi, good evening, Mayor Furtado, council members, Eloisa Murillo Garcia, housing manager. I don't have a PowerPoint for you tonight. It's a pretty brief item. I'll just give you a quick overview. So tonight I'm discussing the application for state funding through the Pro Housing Incentive Program, also known as PIP. As you may recall, the city was awarded a pro housing designation back in May of 2025. And as a result, the city is now eligible to apply for PIP funding. And we're eligible for up to $750,000, and that's based on our population and our pro housing designation score. If the PIP funds were to be awarded, the recommendation is for the funds to be used to match contributions to the city's local housing fund. And this approach is recommended because it provides maximum flexibility in the receipt and use of funds. So we currently don't have a specific project or program identified that would substantially benefit from that award if received. If received, staff would return to council once the Housing Trust Fund has sufficient funds to present a proposed spending strategy. So the recommendation is that the council adopt a resolution authorizing the city to submit an application for grant funding through the state's Pro Housing Incentive Program. And I'm available to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Eloisa. Any questions from part of the council? No. I will invite members of the public who may like to speak on this topic. Would anyone like to speak to this issue? Seeing none, no one's online, I don't believe. Okay. So I will now move on to the council discussion. What is the pleasure of the council?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment that I've had a couple of discussions with Santa Clara County Housing Organization and Silicon Valley at Home, very extensive discussions, just trying to understand what in education, what options. Both organizations had a very favorable and very appreciative comments about working with Eloise and our community development, Rob. So very, very commendable comments that they both made. So I just wanted to recognize that.
Councilmember Lopez.
Yeah, I want to thank staff for all the hard work to get the housing designation. I know that was a really long time coming. And I'm pleased now it gives us the opportunity, or gives us opportunities like this one. So very supportive, but I know there's been a lot of work to get to this.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the staff recommendation to authorize the city to submit an application for grant funding through the state's Pro Housing Incentive Program.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Bybee.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scazola.
Aye.
Mayor Furtado.
Aye. Thank you. We now move to item number 9.2, consideration of the City Council Statement of Values as it relates to allegations made on February 3rd, 2026 regarding the Vice Mayor, and consideration of any actions as deemed appropriate. I'll ask the City Manager to make some comments.
Yeah, just to briefly introduce us and highlight the staff report. We've included in this report March 4th, 2004, reaffirmation of the city's statement of values from the City Council. And then from the factual background on February 3rd, 2006, we did have a member of the public speak during oral communications and made certain allegations about the vice mayor's actions. And then on February 17th of this year, council made a motion which was passed with a 4-0 vote to add an agenda item to this agenda, which we have here this evening, to allow the vice mayor to address the issue and or the city council. Happy to take any questions. We've included the statement of values in the staff report for reference.
Thank you. I will first ask Vice Mayor Scasola if he'd like to make some comments.
Absolutely. I embrace our code of conduct policy and feel that it needs to be significantly strengthened. I agree with it fully, especially when it comes to holding ourselves accountable to the highest of ethical standards. Highest ethical standards. When I hear this, I immediately interpret the meaning to apply to our seat of power and how to use it responsibly and appropriately. Having high enough ethics to not be tempted into corrupt actions such as meeting secretly with lobbyists or taking donations on a quid pro quo basis, and other examples of unethical actions that would truly hurt the city of Campbell. As my fellow council members may recall, during my very first priority setting session, I asked for a new policy that would apply to city council members in regard to how we conduct ourselves when approached by lobbyists. A lobbying policy would help ensure council members are never tempted to make unethical policy decisions due to what is essentially legal bribery. That's why I actually am grateful to see this as an opportunity for us to strengthen our code of conduct. Let's really give it some teeth. Thank you. And please speak up, everyone. It's for whatever reason, there's technical difficulties on my end. It's incredibly quiet. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Are there comments from members of the city council? We have no comments from members of the. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, I don't have a comment. I'd have a question. I would like to ask Council or Vice Mayor Scasola to respond to the comments that were made by the speaker 2 meetings ago about your behavior and whether or not that's acceptable behavior for a city council elected official. And I don't believe that it has anything to do with lobbyists and taking money.
No, I don't think that's appropriate. We all had our conversation. I let you know absolutely everything and my perspective and all of that during our council retreat. And I don't see any reason to discuss it further.
I will ask if there's any member of the public that wishes to speak on this item. Seeing none. All right. Yes.
My name is Chris Giangreco. I was the person that witnessed what happened at the Garrett on the 2nd of February and the one that subsequently came the next day. I had no idea who this person was, and it certainly appeared, based upon a photograph that somebody else brought after this gentleman left, it certainly appeared to be your vice mayor. I can't say for certain, but that's what certainly appeared to happen. And, you know, this has nothing to do with lobbyists or other actions taken by a city council. This has everything to do with what are the public expectations of their elected officials in a public setting and what's appropriate and what is acceptable to a particular legislative body. And my frustration is great when I see legislative bodies at all levels feeling free to act inappropriately, in my opinion. You know, certain behavior should not be tolerated by the electorate. And, you know, whether this gentleman's behaviors are acceptable to whoever, that's, like I said, up for you folks to decide. But, you know, I'm glad that you folks have at least made the effort to look into this. You know, so I wasn't sure I was going to come here today or even speak, but I'm happy that you folks are at least considering this. And everybody should consider, what's proper public behavior by elected officials. I know this.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other speakers or any further comments?
Yes, we do have a speaker online.
Yes, okay.
Juan?
Hi everyone, my name is Juan Rodriguez. I am a former resident of Campbell. After I was priced out of this community when I started growing my family, I'm here, to speak about on this item. I'm, quite, surprised that we're investing city resources into this because ultimately it's allegations. I have not seen any evidence of what's happened. If something had happened that was illegal, I expect, an investigation or something like that. Council member Scozola has, a track record of, supporting policies that support residents and businesses and the overall well-being of Campbell. And so I think that it's good for council members to hold themselves to a higher standard. And, I completely agree with the council code of conduct. But my worry is that, we're going to try to censor a, champion for, housing and tenant rights, because, he's the only one that speaks about tenant rights that I've seen in the city council. And tenants have historically been underrepresented on the city council. So I would just very much like to discourage the city council from taking any disciplinary action on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers?
I have one question.
Well, we've given you the opportunity to speak.
Question is whether or not there are minutes that are publicly available from your retreat. Solo is speaking about.
Action.
I'm sorry, I just,
Yeah, our minutes are action minutes, any actions that are taken.
And they were approved at this meeting.
Yes, they were approved. I'm sorry, yes, they were approved at this meeting.
okay, thank you. Any further discussion on this matter? Councilmember Lopez.
I'm just at a loss, frankly. I want to start by saying I wish that we did not feel the need to discuss this at a public meeting, because I agree that's not where the council or the city should be investing time or resources, but it's not by our desire or wish that we're doing so. And I want to be clear that none of this is because of views that someone holds or actions they have taken on a policy basis. Our council comes from all walks of life and different perspectives. And so I guess I feel at a loss given the questions that have been presented by a member of the public and the lack of a response. It's not, I don't feel it's giving us much to work with. So I'll just say that for now.
Thank you. Councilmember Hines.
Yeah, at the City Council public meeting on February 5th, we heard from Campbell Vice Mayor Elliott. Mrs. Scozola acknowledged several actions of great concern to me while he has been on Campbell City Council. As I told Mr. Scozola at the City Council public meeting on February 5th, it's up to him to respond to and address his actions. This is a huge black mark on our city and is an embarrassment to our wonderful town. As a city council member, we are held to an even higher standard, and we must be accountable for all of our actions and perceptions of our actions. The patterns of actions by Mr. Cazzola is not a one-time event. It's a pattern that is repeating and representing Campbell in these actions. I call on City Council to remove Vice Mayor role from Mr. Cazzola.
Councilmember Bybee.
So as a member of the council, I do subscribe to the Campbell Statement of Values in three areas that really call to my attention. One is falls under the category of honesty. And it says, my words and deeds will be based on truthfulness. The other two bullets are under accountability. I hold myself accountable to the highest ethical standards. I take responsibility for my conduct, and I'm willing to explain my actions and decisions. Now, while I can't speak for all of the council members, I can only speak for myself. I do not condone the behavior that was alleged, and I believe that the vice mayor has failed to address the allegations at our council retreat and at our meeting tonight. And so it's unfortunate that our vice mayor is not willing to explain his actions.
Thank you. Any other comments? I don't see any further comments on the matter. So, I mean, this would conclude the item as a matter of business, unless I hear further.
I'll reiterate again, I call on the City Council and I'll move a motion to remove the Vice Mayor role from Mr. Cazzola.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, or I wonder if Vice Mayor Cazzola would like to make any further comments?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, people's interpretations are wildly different from one another when it comes to what is and isn't appropriate behavior. Some people are hyper conservative or hyper liberal, and most are somewhere in between. So I don't think it's fair to try and use some kind of metric when it ultimately just boils down to everyone's personal opinion. I also feel that it's absolutely terrible that my honesty is being questioned. If there's anything that I am, it's honest. I am not a liar. I'm an Eagle Scout. I pride myself on my integrity when it comes to honesty. So I don't ever want to hear that again. That's very insulting to me. I take great offense to that. I think I'll leave it there for now.
Okay. Councilmember Lopez.
I just like to respond to one point, and I'm just speaking for myself here. I wasn't in the room where it happened, and so I'm not God. I can't speak definitively to what was there, but my disappointment is based off what has happened since, and as Councilman Bybee said, the lack of explanation, and so for me, it's not about adjudicating or.
Excuse me, I have to cut you off right there because I very well explained everything to all of you. You all heard, so the public doesn't know this. We had a very personal conversation. I revealed everything to you. I was very honest. And so that is very misleading. Don't you say that. Please take that statement back.
I think this speaks for itself. I'll end my comments there.
Okay, well, personally, while I don't condone any behavior that's inappropriate, there has been no charge of a crime, and no one else has come forward with an allegation. I just think the action of removal of the position of vice mayor is a little premature at this point. That's my preliminary opinion. Any other comments? Councilmember Bybee.
I would ask, is there any evidence to support the allegations that the gentleman has alluded to? Has there been any follow-up with the party that was involved, and or any record of what happened at the restaurant?
Manager or the
Yeah,
police chief?
our chief's coming up to answer that, and I'll let him address the question.
In response to Councilmember Bybee's question, after the allegations were made at the council meeting, the police department did follow up with the gentleman who spoke at public comment and attempted to contact the involved party. Our investigators also visited the Garrett where this incident occurred and verified through video surveillance footage Councilman Vice Mayor Scazola being at the Garrett restaurant for over 3 hours and having numerous beverages of alcohol prior to the actions occurring and him leaving the restaurant.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor, and we will move to a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
I'm sorry,
Aye.
I did not hear your vote.
Aye.
You're voting in favor of the motion? Okay, yes.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Bybee.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scazola.
Nay.
Mayor Furtado.
No. The motion has passed. So the vice mayor is removed from his office as vice mayor of the city, which now opens the position of vice mayor of the city.
I find this interesting being a political year too, re-election year. Very interesting.
May I ask a procedural question? Do we have to consider that at this meeting?
Actually, I think it would be more appropriate to agendize that for your next meeting to discuss who would be the next vice mayor.
I would prefer that as well.
Okay, if that is the general pleasure of the council, we will agendize the election of a vice mayor at the very next meeting of the city council. Is that agreeable? Just by mutual agreement? Yes, so that will conclude the discussion and the motion on this measure, unless the city clerk has any further questions. Guess not. Okay, we now move to council committee reports, and who would like to start on committee reports? Councilmember Hines.
Sure, thank you. I attended Susan Ellenberg's D4 State of the County. Really a very impressive presentation and review and conversations. I also then attended the Palestinian Gaza review, very powerful messages that were given there. The Cupertino State of the City was I also attended with getting some good ideas. And then as I talked about, meeting with the Santa Clara housing discussion and the excellent comments that they had.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to continue. I think I attended many of the same events as well. As I mentioned, I also had the opportunity to hear a legislative update from Assemblymember Patrick Aaron's, which was very interesting, and I do encourage our legislative committee to follow up on that. I also want to share that we had a VTA board workshop on Friday, February 27th, and if there's any interested council members or members of the public or staff, I'm very happy to share the materials. This was a 2.5-hour workshop to review what will likely become an expenditure plan, but this really focused more on setting the context, showcasing the kind of data that VTA gathers that informs its decisions. And part of the broader context for this is that there's a proposed regional measure right now, which would cover 5 counties, including Santa Clara County. VTA last year voted to opt into that if it does make it on the ballot, and voters are currently gathering signatures for that. And so part of the work that BTA is doing is to take a long-range look at what we could do either with current resources or if the measure were to pass with future resources to really transform, allow innovation to come out, allow different things rather than doing more of the same, and to better serve different areas of the county. A big focus, just one takeaway for me that I'll share was on first and last mile connection. And this is a term in the transit industry that refers to once you get off the bus or light rail or train or whatever you're traveling on, how do you get from there to home or to your destination or vice versa, getting there. And if you can solve that problem, that really opens up much more transit access for many residents. And so we talk about things, for example, like pilot programs or institutionalizing programs that have been pilots in the past to better serve, and I think it's particularly relevant for Campbell and the West Valley, to better serve areas throughout the county as you get away from the urban core in San Jose, which is traditionally where the system is focused. So a lot that's very exciting for me to really think about this and think about not just, what's the budget going to be next year, but how do we plan to be more fiscally sustainable, but also better serve our residents for future generations. So again, as you can maybe tell, I get really excited talking about this stuff, so I'm happy to share information if anyone is interested.
Councilmember Black.
Thank you. I attended a meeting of the museum, what's the actual title? The Campbell Historical Museum and Ainsley House Foundation board. They're a very energetic board. They've got a lot of activities planned for the upcoming year. They are seeking applicants or interested people to serve on the board, and I would encourage anyone that's interested to go to the city website and look up the museum and get the additional information there.
Yes, Councilmember Scazola.
Thank you. As is my right, I'd like to make a motion to have staff research the strongest lobbying policies in practice today and bring us options within 3 months' time to possibly implement our own before year's end. I've been waiting for this for over 3 years now. I tried to have this done in my first year, so I made the motion. Do I have a second?
There is no second to the motion. Any further comments?
Nobody's interested in ensuring that we have much better lobbying policies. Even San Jose, they have a weak one, but they have one. We do not have one. We have no lobbying policy. I think it's very important. I don't have a second. Nobody's interested. Nobody's interested in. We're all interested in. We were talking about code of conduct. We're talking about ethics here. We're talking about political ethics, and this is very key to that. Nobody wants to support this.
I'm sorry, there is not a second to the motion.
Sergio Lopez does not want to support a lobbying policy to keep people ethical so that there aren't secret meetings and there aren't. Okay, I tried.
Okay, thank you. I will mention, I attended a leadership conference that that Congressmember Ricardo sponsored. He invited some mayors and some members of school boards and some other community members to a meeting to talk about issues that might be of concern to us that affect federal legislation. He also brought up issues, and we talked about the need for housing, which is kind of a universal issue, of course, for our state. He also mentioned that we have been awarded $250,000 federal grant. The money is to be used for some work on the Harrison Avenue Civic Center Drive area. So we should anticipate receiving those funds. And it was a very good discussion. I also attended a recent meeting from the coordinator for Santa Clara County and interested volunteers who are working on the whole issue of human trafficking. And their effort is primarily to reduce human trafficking as much as possible, to address it, and to make information available to any potential victims of human trafficking. And the police chief and I were both there and talked about this, and their volunteer efforts to make available information and ways that anyone subject to human trafficking could seek additional help and support. So it was a very good meeting. They will continue their efforts. There was concern around the Super Bowl because it brings in a lot of people from outside the area, and there is also particular concern for the upcoming FIFA games in this area. Trying to make sure that people are made aware of potential problem, and as I mentioned, how individuals who may be victims can seek support. And finally, I was notified today that I've been appointed to the Mayor's Water Council of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, so I'll serve in that committee while in this office. And water policy is something I'm very interested in, so I look forward to that opportunity. So with that, I think that concludes the business of the City Council for tonight. Thank you all for attending. The meeting is now adjourned.